Morning everybody. Someone's off school. Not feeling very well.
Well, book day tomorrow.
Well, book day tomorrow for their school. So busy day of editing and looking after the littlest one. Yesterday's question, who is the greatest golfer of all time? It's a great question, isn't it? And one that sparks so much debate, doesn't it? And it's the big Tiger Nicklaus thing. There's always a few others. A few people saying Lockie. Now for me, it has to be Jack Nicklaus. It has to be a results driven thing. Trouble with golf is I've heard it so often, and I think it covers through even onto the pro ranks, not that they say it. You know, oh, remember Jim, he was the best ball striker this club ever had. Oh, is he? What did Jim ever win? Oh no, he played off two. I think the players on tour would acknowledge the major count, and that's what Nicklaus has, isn't it, over Woods. Not saying Woods didn't change things and he was amazing and still is for golf. For me, it has to be, in years to come, it will be that major count, and Nicklaus has it. So for me, it's Nicklaus. The longevity of his career as well has been amazing compared to obviously someone like Tiger who struggles. But I'm happy to be persuaded, and if Tiger is your best golfer of all time, that's fine. I just think the record books will, at the moment, it's Nicklaus, isn't it? We're both having banana and Weetabix. Today's question then is, what do you think of the rule changes? Good, bad, does it matter, will it affect you or not? Hit those comment section up down below, hit the thumbs up button while you're down there. What's the other button they should hit, Orla? There's another button down there, isn't there?
The subscribe button.
No. Spot on.
Next door neighbours are doing that one.
There's some work going on next door. Today's swing, we're going to talk about how this can be functional or not. Very long arm swing, lifting bodies up and down, those kind of ideas today. First game I would play with this student is the pitching game. So I've got a 6-iron here and a lob wedge. First thing, I'd watch them hit shots with a lob wedge, and I would see if they use more of a pitching technique, and if they didn't, I would ask them to, but often they do. So what I mean by that is they tend to stay a little bit more turning on top of the ball, not his big pull off and back. They make shorter arm swings as a general rule. They also tend to stop their arms when their body stops turning, because they try to sink it up a little bit more. Now if they don't do that, I would say to them, I want them to do that, and they're going to hit some pitch shots. So we're taking distance out of the equation. They're just trying to pitch the ball 50, 60 yards out in front of them with, say, a sand wedge, whatever loft club they've got. Then what I do is I ask them to do the same thing with a 6-iron, and when they do it, so similar ideas, turning more on the ball as their body stops turning, arms stop turning, same ideas on the way through, rather than this very long arm swing, lift up and pull back. They are always completely shocked at how far the ball goes when they do it this way, and often completely shocked at how efficient the strike feels. Like I said at the start, I can't tell if you're a good player, handicap low or high. It's impossible for me to tell. So if you're already efficient, this won't apply for you, and someone else watching this video who does a similar movement who isn't efficient, it might apply more to them. That general idea around what we see in this kind of front-on image. But certainly would be keen to see how your strike transforms or not, with feeling that your arms and body are more synced on the way back rather than the massive turn and lifting up. I do think it might just crisp up those strikes, and that can make a huge difference in dispersion, short and long, which is often much bigger than left and right dispersion for most golfers. Me and littlest with the bag.
Goodie side.
Goodie side. We're venturing out. We need to get stuff for tea. I hope she's gonna make it. Let's answer your questions.
Hey Mark, Fred here, hope you're doing well.
Hey Fred.
I was just wondering, how important do you think course management skills are compared to actual golf mechanics, you know, the swing and whatnot? Because there is a million bajillion videos out there on how to hit the golf ball and how to, you know, exactly the mechanics of the swing and whatnot. And I don't hear that many people talk about how to manage a golf course intelligently, how to, you know, choose the right club on a hole. For example, if it's a, you know, sub 300 yard par 4, then maybe get a long iron, or maybe just something that you can hit about, you know, 200 yards instead of using your driver and maybe look at where you position yourself off the tee when there's trouble and whatnot. So why do you think there isn't more advice on course management compared to how much advice there is on how to hit the golf ball? And how important do you think course management skills are compared to having a perfectly sound swing? Because in my experience, and that's kind of limited because I don't play that much golf, but in my experience, there are a lot of people who don't really have the best swings, don't hit it that far, but they still get out there and shoot some pretty low scores because they avoid all the trouble around the golf course by using their heads a lot. So yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that. Cheers, bro.
Good question, Frederick. And you're obviously filming something there. What are you filming? Apart from obviously the question. The reason there are a lot of videos around swing is because it's obviously a more powerful search term, isn't it? That's why people tend to do swing ones. One of the reasons I started doing the course vlogs was to show people how we play courses and don't, and how we take shots on, and how, so someone like me with different distances to other players and different skill sets, so poorer chipping at the moment, maybe better putting, play to my strengths and weaknesses. So I think every course vlog I do has hundreds of lessons in there for people. Or lots of people forget to see them sometimes and they're watching the entertainment, which is fine, and lots of people totally miss the point of them. Like they go, oh, this is just silly, they're just mucking around. Totally not. I mean, we are having fun, but there's a lot of course information, how to plot or not around a golf course in those. And then the next thing, obviously, course management is so specific to the player and their skill set or not. So it is a really important skill, and I do see mistakes made by amateurs, but often it is built more around their lack of technique, say, than their management. They often rely back to management, I think, because they can't believe that their technique can be so maybe inconsistent, so they need something else to blame it on sometimes. They go, oh, this my course management's rubbish. But certainly course management, I think, is something you could have more content on. I just think it would be so generic. But again, every course vlog I do is a massive lesson in course management, good and bad, watching how our emotions take over our decisions or not, watching how we take things on and we win and we lose with those decisions. You can all learn from them as well. But at the end of the day, it's that kind of dry technique that separates the better players from the weaker ones as well. And that's not good looking swings or bad looking swings, as you're kind of hinting at. That's functional swings or not, and functional contacts or not. Good question. Is Pengy coming?
Yeah!
Obviously. We found him all. He seems to have pen on his face. Is that what you're meant to do with those implements? Right, next thing I want you to do, and you can do this with a club or without, is I want you to do some reflection work. I mean physical reflection, not like emotional reflection. So I'm going to use the camera here where I can see myself back, or I would use the telly screen. I would just make some movements watching myself to see what your movement feels like compared to one where maybe I kind of mark something in the background, maybe this kind of picture in the background here, if it's going to focus here, and how I move kind of away from it or not, or how I turn within it. And again, I can have the club in my hands, I don't need the club. If you've got enough room, you could do it and swing the club. Reflection work is a fantastic way of you seeing and then in turn feeling what different things feel like. It puts a really powerful image in your mind when the reflection's not there to try and recreate. Growing up, I did loads of reflection work in mirrors, in windows, wherever I could. I would even use my shadow sometimes to get a feeling of X, Y or Z depending on whatever I was working on at the time. The biggest problem with reflection work is it's boring. People don't like to do it, but I see massive gains from people who do take the time to do it. The students who go home and said they did the reflection work that I gave them make massive gains really, really quickly. Again, it's just that dedication to learning, isn't it? It's how different people choose to spend their time, I guess. So about doing that reflection work, trying to maybe just put your head in some kind of frame box, top of the ceiling, any of those, making some movements which reflect your backswing, and you could do downswing as well, just to feel how your whole body feels when you make that more contained movement. There we go, another day. Thank you all for watching. I'm sure the greatest player who ever lived conversation will rage on. Keep those swings coming, keep those video questions coming. You can post them anywhere, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you want to post them. Gone all a bit crazy tonight. Beef stir fry, mixing it up. Remember to thumbs up the video if you're liking the daily vlogs. Thanks for all the support, everyone who's watching, getting great responses at the moment. Thanks to everyone who supports and watches and comments and does thumb up and does subscribe. More questions, more swings, more fun coming at you tomorrow. See you tomorrow.
The subscribe button.
That's it, subscribe button. Who's the greatest golfer of all time?
I don't know.